I've been recently been thinking about the accessibility in both the software we use and just day-to-day activities. And I'll probably have a follow-up video about some other accessibility related things that I've been thinking about, but it is interesting to when interfacing with different applications and other items throughout your day, thinking about how people access the thing or how they interface with it and where pain points come, because especially when doing testing with accessibility, familiarizing yourself with like the WCA, is that right? But like the accessibility standard, yeah, WCA, no, that can't be right. WCAG, um, with all sorts of like ADA compliance and other requirements, there is you don't, I mean, unless you actively require an accessibility related item, you don't really think about what is or isn't needed and whether something should or shouldn't be done a certain way. Like, how long should a message display for you to be able to read it completely, before having it like disappear on its own, or have to like manually clear the notification. Like, that's just a simple thing that you don't think about until there are requirements or you are put into a pain point where a message just like flashes on screen for like a second but had a paragraph of text in it, and it's like you don't, that's just not something you would think about until you have that moment where you are frustrated with not being able to like have access to that content that you potentially needed. Um, and that is then something that can be applied to everything. There's the idea, I think it's like universal accessibility, or I think that was it. Or universal design, maybe that was it. But like the idea where something is modified in a way to make it more accessible, but then it ends up having a positive impact for other things that you may not have intentionally done, like the idea of like the corners of sidewalks or at like crosswalks having that sloped um sloped I don't know, walking part, both is more accessible to people in wheelchairs, but also anyone like carrying around a stroller bag or strollers or anything with wheels. It becomes all that much more accessible for everyone to take advantage of, instead of just like have thinking that you have to make it accessible for like one group of people. It's then accessible to like or more accessible to everyone. And so we should spend our days or spend time thinking about instances where you interface with something, a door handle, a lock, a cabinet, a utensil. Like, think about how you're utilizing it and whether or not somebody with more or less capacity would be able to interface that. They're like door handles that are round versus door handles that are like the bars versus door handles that um have like a foot, uh a way that you can like open it with your foot. It's just that like everything can be like recontextualized into a new like accessible um perspective. And that's like just like the physical touching things. There's so much more of like how a thing looks in terms of color, contrast, and size, and like there's so many different ways to improve something to make it all that much more accessible. And by making it accessible, more people can then use it, more people can have access to it. And like, I mean, for companies, like that's potentially means more money or more advertising visibility. Like if you needed to justify it to a company, like that's one thing you could do. But yeah, it's something that I think we frequently overlook. Like, how can you uh another example would be like to test with using a screen reader, you should try the extremes of like, close your eyes while using a screen reader and see if you really understand like how you're navigating through a website or application or whatever. Like, that you will very quickly realize how many websites are not haven't had like that level of thought put into it to where things are laid out in a way that utilizing a screen reader or just like keyboard navigations, like tapping through things, like it just doesn't make sense because your focus will end up jumping around, and that's so much more confusing to the end user. And it's something that we should think about when we're interacting with everything.